This is from a time when there was a very rich and powerful man. Because of his wealth and status, people believed his words and respected him. But this man had a major flaw. He was addicted to adultery. Whenever he heard of a beautiful woman somewhere, he would immediately go there. Using his money, he would try to buy those women and girls. If someone refused to fulfill his desires, he would forcefully satisfy his lust. There was no limit to his desires. Who knows how many innocent women's honor he had destroyed? But he forgot that every action has a consequence. One day, he was cursed. One day your own daughter will become a prostitute, and you will commit adultery with her. This curse had already been written in his destiny, but blinded by pride in his wealth and power, he took it as a joke. This man loved his daughter dearly. He fulfilled her every wish. Whatever she wanted, he bought it for her immediately. But whenever a marriage proposal came, he would reject it. The girl, too, had become arrogant like her father. She would sit with her maids and mock the proposals. The father thought she was still young and would understand when she matured. But the maids knew that if the girl wasn't married off soon, things would get out of hand. Eventually, the father arranged a grand gathering. He invited noble and wealthy young men from far and wide in the hope that one might be suitable for his daughter. But when the girl saw them, she began insulting each one. The first boy was a bit fat. She laughed and said, "This fat elephant came for me. If I marry him, even the doorways of my room would seem small." The second boy was tall. She said, "Oh, look at this tall pole. The neighbors won't be able to maintain privacy." The third boy was short. She said, "This tiny mouse came to marry me? Just looking at him makes me laugh." Pointing to a very fair nobleman, she said, "He looks like a white rat." Another rich man with a slightly pale complexion. She said, "He looks like a chicken's claw." The consequence of her arrogance, she insulted every boy. She was so blinded by her pride that she didn't realize what her actions would lead to. A king was also present at the gathering. He had a long beard. Seeing him, the girl burst into laughter and said, "Look, this old king is here. His beard is so long I'll have to comb it every day after marriage." But the king said nothing. He silently stood up and left. The girl's father was furious. His anger reached the heavens. In front of everyone, he loudly declared, "From today, this girl is no longer my daughter. She has become disrespectful and arrogant. Whoever wants to take her can take her. There is no place for her in my home anymore." The girl was shocked. She couldn't believe her own father was disowning her. But the father's decision was final. He ordered his servants to blindfold her and leave her in an unknown city. Her eyes were covered. She was placed in a carriage, and after several hours of travel, she was abandoned in an unfamiliar city. When she finally removed the blindfold, she found herself in a strange place. It was a new city where no one knew her. She was alone, helpless, and clueless about what to do next. It was evening. Darkness was slowly setting in, and she didn't know where to go. Then she saw an old man who looked like a dervish. Seeing her alone, he asked, "Daughter, what are you doing here alone at this hour? It's not safe here." With a trembling voice, the girl replied, "I've been thrown out of my home. I don't know where to go." The old man sighed deeply, as if he already knew everything but didn't let her suspect. He said, "Daughter, it's getting late. This place isn't safe for you. Come to my home. I have a daughter who will be happy to meet you." The girl was initially scared, but sensing kindness in the old man's voice, she thought if there was a girl in his home, she might be safe there. Hesitatingly, she agreed and followed him. On the way, they passed a vast hunting ground. Seeing it, The girl asked, "Whose huge hunting ground is this?" The old man replied, "It belongs to the same king you mocked at the gathering." The girl shivered and silently regretted it, saying to herself, "Oh Allah, what a great sin I've committed." But she didn't know this was just the beginning of her misfortune. After a while, they entered a magnificent city with grand palaces, tall buildings, and beautiful gardens. The girl asked, "Whose city is this?" The old man smiled and replied, "Daughter, this also belongs to the same king. Had you married him, all this would be yours." The girl realized her mistake and said regretfully, "I wish I hadn't rejected those proposals. I wish I had married the king. My pride made me commit a huge mistake." But now it was too late for regret. The old man said nothing and kept walking, and the girl quietly followed. She was tired and asked, "Baba, how far is your home?" He pointed and said, "That house ahead is mine." The girl looked closely. It wasn't a big house, but quite wide. The walls looked old and broken. It looked like a typical poor man's house. The girl asked in surprise, "Baba, why is your house like this?" The old man laughed and said, "Daughter, this is how poor people's houses are. But come inside, you'll find everything fine." The girl entered, but what she saw inside shocked her. The house had a strange environment. There were many women and girls, each dressed oddly as if they had a specific job. Each had her own room. The girl was startled and confused about what kind of place this was. The old man said, "Daughter, all these women are my daughters." The girl was stunned. She immediately thought, "How is this possible? He's an old man. How can he have so many daughters?" There were 40 to 50 women and girls living strangely. She nervously asked, "Baba, how can all these women be your daughters?" The old man laughed and said, "Daughter, you'll understand soon. For now, eat and rest. We'll talk in the morning." She didn't understand, but was too tired to ask more. The old man showed her a room and said, "This is your room. Stay here comfortably." She ate and went to sleep. The next morning, she peeked outside and saw some women rushing around, others locked in rooms, and unfamiliar men entering and leaving the house. She got scared and looked for the old man. "Baba, what's happening here? Who are these people?" The old man sighed and said, "Daughter, all these women were brought here like you. I gave them shelter. They do some work for me, which you will have to do too." The ground beneath her feet seemed to slip. Fearfully, she asked, "Baba, what is your work?" The old man laughed coldly and said, "Daughter, wait for the evening, then you'll understand." She asked in a trembling voice, "What work?" Without shame, he replied, "Sit down and get ready for the night." The girl went silent, but her heart pounded. Then someone knocked at the door. The old man opened it with a smile and bowed, saying, "Sir, we were waiting for you." When the girl saw who it was, she felt the earth disappear beneath her feet. It was the same king. He entered with fury and hatred in his eyes. Staring at the girl, he said, "You humiliated me in the gathering. Today, I'll give you the same pain." The girl tried to run, but the king ordered his guards, "Tie her to the platform." She screamed, but no one listened. The king took his revenge mercilessly. The girl's downfall continued. At first, she cried for weeks. Then for months, she remained silent. Slowly, all of this became a habit. Now, she had become exactly what she once hated. She began to embrace this life. She became famous, far and wide. She was now considered the most beautiful woman in the city. Stories about her spread everywhere. People longed to be in her company. Now, she no longer hated this life. She had started to own it. One day, an old man came to the city. People told him about a woman so beautiful and youthful that she looked like she was made of silver, who did things other women wouldn't. The old man, intrigued, said, "If this is true, I'll see her tonight." That old man was none other than the girl's own father. The old man running the place told the girl, "Tonight, a special guest is coming. He's very rich, has a lot of money. You must please him, and if he likes you, your price will increase even more." The girl didn't object. She was used to all of it now. Selling her body had become routine. Honor, shame, everything had faded. Night fell, the room was prepared, the bedding was new, expensive perfume filled the air. The girl was dressed in beautiful clothes. Suddenly, the door opened, and the special man entered. The girl lowered her gaze. She never bothered to look at her clients, and this time was no different. The room was dim. The man sat on the bed. The girl began undressing. The man did the same. A sin was about to be committed that neither of them had imagined. The night passed. The girl did what she always did, and the man did what he always did. After it was over, the man said with a satisfied tone, "I've been with countless women, but the peace I felt tonight, I've never felt before." The ground slipped beneath her feet. That voice, that tone, that way of speaking, it wasn't a stranger. It was her own father. The poisonous dagger of truth. Electricity coursed through her body, her breath halted, her voice caught in her throat. She quietly got off the bed and locked herself in another room. Her mind and body were now filled with disgust. The next morning, the man put on his clothes and asked the old pimp, "Where is that girl?" "I want to see her again." The old man replied, "She's not well, she's resting." But the man insisted, "I've never spent such a peaceful night with a woman. I want to see her again." The old man tried to make the girl open the door, but she flatly refused. She only said, "I don't want to meet anyone anymore." After the man left, the girl asked the old man, "Who was he?" The old man replied, "He's a powerful man from Falasan City, and you'll be shocked to know. He was your own father." Hearing this, her soul seemed to leave her body. She said nothing and quietly went back to her room. The next morning, the girl left that brothel and went far away. No one knows where she went. No one knows what she did to herself. Lesson from the story: you reap what you sow. The one who committed sins was punished by those same sins. The one who dishonored others ended up losing their own honor. O Allah, save us from such darkness, save us from sins, save our children, and grant us the ability to stay away from evil. Friends, this story is not just a tale. It carries a powerful lesson. It teaches us that what we sow, we shall reap. If we oppress others, that same oppression will return to us in one form or another. If we sin, we may face its consequences in this world and in the hereafter. That's why we should fear Allah's punishment and always follow the righteous path. Allah Almighty says, "And those who repent, believe, and do righteous deeds, for them Allah will change their evil deeds into good ones." Surah Al-Furqan. Friends, if we have committed sins, we should sincerely repent to Allah, for His mercy is greater than everything. If we have wronged someone, we should seek their forgiveness, for oppression will not remain hidden on the day of judgment. Your opinion on this story matters. If you liked this story and learned something from it, please let us know. Share your thoughts in the comment box. Did you learn anything from it? If you liked the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Press the bell icon for new story notifications. With your support, we can bring more meaningful stories. So do subscribe and share with your friends. We'll meet again soon with another emotional and thought-provoking story. Until then, Allah Hafiz.